So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to NCCT Prep for today. We're going to continue on with what we were doing last week. I had a couple of students email me and ask for one more week's worth of going through those medical insurance questions, and I think that's a great idea if you guys want the practice, so we're going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we will jump right in, you guys. All right, can you guys see me? The question? All right, so this is gonna be fun. A patient recently saw her in-network Blue Cross Blue Shield cardiologist whose charges are subject to an 80/20 coinsurance after the deductible has been met. Okay, so standard 80/20. The explanation of benefits shows the following information. 1,070 billed, 620 allowed, so that's going to be our amount we're going to want to work with. $350 applied to annual deductible, $20 co-payment, and 20% co-insurance. Which of the following amounts is the patient's total responsibility? All right, so I'm going to get me a little piece of scratchy paper because there's no way I'll keep that straight in my head. As y'all know, I do not math. All right, so 1,070 we're not worried about because that's what was billed, not what was allowed. So we're working on 620, and they're saying 350 applied to deductible. So we got 350 off the bat, $20 co-payment she paid, so $20 added to that. That gives us 370, and then a 20% co-insurance. Now, in my way of thinking, this should be 620 minus the 370, and then we're going to figure out what 20% of that would be and add it to our 370. Right? Breaking out my calculator. Keep working. Don't log me out. Okay, which is fine. So 620. But see, one of the question last week wanted me to do the co-insurance first, didn't they? They said I was wrong.
Yeah.
Yep. Y'all remember that too, huh? All right. So let's do it that way. 620 is our allowed amount. We're going to figure out what's 20% of that. So times 0.20, that'd be 124. $494, which is not an answer given. So I feel like that's not right. Okay, so 620 minus 370 equals 250, and 20% of that is 50. So then that would be 370 plus 50, 420. Answer is A. See, now that was the way that I've always figured it. I don't know what was going on with the question that way. All right, so patient's total responsibility, so everything, 350 plus 20 plus the 20%, 420 is what I'm coming up with. Correct. Okay, cool. That's what I thought it should be. Y'all see how I got there? All right, the purpose of the explanation of benefits is to A, give the patient information on their diagnosis, B, refer the patient to the provider's quality ratings, C, list the services rendered and payments by the insurance company, or D, give the provider a way to communicate with the patient. What do you guys think this is going to be? What's an EOB for?
See?
That is correct. It's going to be C. It's going to list your services that were done and the financials, how they were processed. All right. Charges are $155 and the allowed amount is $120. How much should the insurance and coding specialist collect from a patient who has Medicare? All right, so does anybody remember what Medicare's percentage for coinsurance is? It's 80-20. It's always 80-20 for Medicare, okay? So if the allowed amount is $120, should be 20% of $120 times 0.20. I'm coming up with 24 bucks. And you got to remember that Medicare is always 80-20. Your answer is correct. See, 120 times 20%, or if on calculator, 0.20. Which of the following is likely to be a cause for delay in receiving prior approval for a procedure or service from the insurance company? So in other words, why would they delay in giving you approval for a procedure? Let's see. A, the procedure submitted is not included on the policy. B, the date of service is not far enough in the future. C, the resident performing the procedure is not credentialed. Or D, the service will take longer than normal. What do y'all think the answer is going to be on that one?
Think maybe C? No, that doesn't feel right.
Follow that train of thought. Yeah. It's not, I don't think it's going to be C. I don't think they're going to go so far as to digging into credentialing when they're doing prior approval. They're going to be looking at the basics like medical necessity or if they cover that procedure at all.
And for it to be a delay, that means they're gonna do it. It's just going to be later,
Maybe.
maybe.
They're not saying whether they're going to do it or not. They're just saying what could cause a delay. We might be overthinking it.
I guess my second guess is A.
Let's try A because that's what I think it is too. And let's see what it says. Correct. Not included on the policy. Yeah, see, when they're doing prior approvals, it's basically just a check of the patient's benefits are in check on this date. We cover that service, and it is medically necessary. Stuff like that. All right, so which of the following must be included when completing a CMS 1500 form for a workers' compensation case? Select 2 correct answers. All right, so we remember that workers' comp is a little bit different than everything else, right? Than your other claims. So what 2 things are we going to have? A, the place of employment. B, the length of employment. C, the date of injury. D, the patient's primary insurance information. Or E, the employer's liability insurance information.
Date of injury.
Right. Date of injury is going to be 1, and that's your most important. That is the number 1 piece of information you need on a workers' comp case on everything, the DOI or the date of injury. And what's the second thing? And a little hint, this has to do with who owns the policy. Who owns that insurance policy?
I want to say the place of employment.
That's sort of But that's more the business is wherever they're employed. We're looking for the employer's liability insurance information. Okay? We're not worried about the patient's private insurance information because this is workers' comp. It's all going through the employer's policy that they own, right? The length of employment doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they were employed a day or 20 years. They're going to be treated the same. And like I said, the place of employment, that's more like the business that it is. But we're looking more for that direct policy information. But yes, that date of injury, definitely, right off the top. Oh, the place of employment is necessary so the insurance company can identify the policy holder. There you go. You were right. I'm reading it wrong, apparently. The patient's primary health insurance will not be used since the injury happened at the place of employment. The length of employment is not a factor, only that the claimant is employed at the time in a place of injury. So I feel like that should have been worded differently. Instead of the place of employment, I think that should have been like place of injury, but whatever. Y'all see how they do.
Is it because liability insurance is not the same as health insurance?
You know that it's not the same as workers' comp. Workers' comp and liability are two different things. Good catch, Michelle. Good catch, because I did not. Excellent catch. All right. See, guys, I get them wrong sometimes, too. A patient who has an HMO insurance policy goes to the urologist's office. Before the urologist will see the patient must have what? So first of all, a urologist is what? That's not their primary care. That's going to be a what kind of provider?
A specialist.
That's right. Specialist. And this is what type of insurance? An HMO? What do we always have to have when we see a specialist for an HMO?
A referral.
That's right. A referral. D. Referral. Correct. All right. Which of the following physicians typically require a referral with an HMO or POS policy? A. Primary care. B. Anesthesiologist. C. Cardiologist. Or D. Pathologist.
Cardiologist.
That is correct. It's going to be C. Generally, your primary care, of course, is not going to require a referral. Anesthesiologist is not going to really require, that's not somebody you're going to see directly. They'll be involved in a procedure if they need to be involved, but it's going to be the cardiologist that lines up the anesthesiologist. You see what I'm saying? And then the pathologist that's just labs and stuff. So you're not going to need a referral for that either. Your PCP could send you off for labs without a referral. Okay. Correct. All right. We'll hit just a couple of more to round out our time, guys, because these are kind of short, so that's nice. Which of the following, but you see how they ask the same question different way? Which of the following is the maximum amount of time to file a claim through Medicare? What is Medicare's timely filing guideline? Anybody remember what it is?
B.
It is B, 12 months. You have 1 year to file a claim with Medicare. Very good, very good. All right, one more. Who is the policyholder of a workers' compensation policy? The employee, the injured, the employer, or the government?
Employer.
All day, every day. Correct. Awesome, guys. Awesome. All right. So y'all see how they will ask y'all the same questions 3 or 4 different ways? From what I understand, the way the exam works, they have 3 of them that they rotate out and different ones ask different questions different ways, and you never know which one you're going to get. But they all are set up the same way. They have a certain number of questions covering said topic. They have a certain number of questions, covering other topics, and they're just picking from a pool of questions asked different ways. So don't do like Miss Brandy and overthink and then not read thoroughly enough. Again, I'm one of those, I do not test well. I just don't. I never have. It's okay. It'll be all right. Hopefully y'all do better than me. But that's why we're here, to get y'all that practice in. So, Michelle, you're going to be good and ready by the time you get there. You're going to be good and ready, girl. All right, guys. Well, that's all I've got for you today. As always, thank y'all so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know sometimes it's really hard to fit in, especially right now during the summer. If y'all got kids home like me and summer activities going on, things are just nutballs. Nutballs. So, again, no 2 o'clock on Tuesday for next week, but I will see y'all this Thursday. Have a great day, guys.